why.
Cody, we've done an interview. Did we do one last year? I'm trying to remember.
Maybe once or twice. I can't remember.
Good to see you. You're from Maryland.
Yep. Down by that boat school.
Okay, good to see you.
And you want to start?
Turn the camera. And starting Army football practice, first practice, and our first chance to talk to players, Max DiDomenico and Cody Winokur. And Max, so we started last week at the media day. What's it like to actually be out on the field with your teammates?
Yeah, it's super exciting. You wait all summer, all off season to get camp started. So it's a great day to get out here, get all the guys together, and really get started on the season.
And Cody, just tell us a little bit about your summer and getting set in first day out on the field with your teammates.
Yeah, we're excited for the opportunity to get after it this year, especially being in the American Conference. And, all summer we were working to maximize our potential as a team, as a unit, get as close as we can, really be a player-led group. That's what we're focused on this season, having everything come from within and taking the coaching from the classroom to the field and just being the best players that we can be.
Max, just tell us a little bit about setting up a number of players graduated this past year who played a lot of football and defensive secondary for Army. How is it putting a new unit together? Who are some of the guys you see out in the roles?
Yeah, it's the same thing every year. Of course, we lost, a lot of players had a lot of experience, but they did a great job of getting the guys behind them ready to play. Guys are going to prove themselves during camp. This is their opportunity. Everyone here is competing for a spot, so it's fun competition, healthy competition, get everyone going. I'm excited.
Cody, same question, your position, defensive line. How is it putting the group together? Who are some of the players in key roles at this point?
Yeah, we got Kyle obviously coming back, Sean, Jack Latour, got older guys that we're excited about, and we got a lot of young guys who are still getting evaluated as well. We're just excited about the new group that we're able to mold and put the best product that we can forward.
Seth Mendelson, Black Knight Nation. Nice to meet you guys. It's kind of a new beginning for Army football, new league. It seems a lot of excitement out in the world. You talk to people, and the press is covering it. Saw an article, national article, a couple of days ago with the coach. Give me your views on that. Is it something? Are you guys thinking any differently than you did in the past?
No, sir. It's the same thing every year, right? Your ultimate goal to do every week is just win, right? Doesn't matter who you're playing. It doesn't matter who's lining up across from you. Just playing the best Army football that we can, right? The conference, I think it's exciting. It adds a new element to the season. But like I said, it doesn't change what our goal is and what we're focused on. We're focused on ourselves, just getting ourselves better. Competing every week.
Cody?
Yeah, sorry, can you restate your question?
Just new beginning for Army football. Going into the league, going into the new conference.
Yeah, all that stuff is great for all the admin guys. For all the fans. That's what that's for. Obviously, we have a brand of football here that we play and we take pride in. That hasn't changed, and how we hold that standard hasn't changed. So we're just going to implement what we've been doing, holding each other accountable into this new environment that we're in, and give ourselves the best chance to win every game.
As captains, you have a bunch of freshmen coming in. You have a lot of undergrad, younger guys. What do you see your roles as the captain of the team?
Just being that person who sets the example, upholds the standard. Honestly, it's just a title, right? Everyone should be doing the same thing. I think everyone can hold a leadership role. Our team's full of leaders, and it's awesome, right? I think personally, everyone should be a leader, or strive to be a leader in different ways. But like I said, our role is just, do our best every day, bring that positive energy, get the guys going when they need it, and everything else will fall in place.
Cody, anything to add?
Yeah, kind of building off what Max said, just embodying servant leadership across the board. Like he was saying, anybody could have the title of captain, at the premier leadership institution in the world. So the way I see it is that the 4 guys that we got voted this year, it's their responsibility to hold our team accountable for when things aren't going so good, maintain the standard, because anybody can be at the top when things are going really good, So when you're not doing good, when you're battling through certain things, like who's going to be the people to step up and hold your team accountable? And I think we have a really good group of seniors and good group of captains to do that this year.
Thank you, guys. Ken?
Ken McMillan, Times Herald Record. Max, just tell me about the first day, how did it go? What was the most exciting aspect for you?
Yeah, I thought the first day went great. Of course, mistakes are made. A lot of things to work on. It's day one, getting our feet under us, but it's always exciting to go out there. I don't know what I was most excited for. I would say just starting camp, right? Like I said, that's what you get ready for. All off season, get ready to go into camp. We're all here together, me and the new freshmen. They're a part of our team now, and they're going to help us in any way they can. So it's just exciting meeting new people, getting back into it, playing the sport we love.
Cody, same thing. What was the first day like? What did you see out there, especially amongst the younger players?
Yeah, good day. Obviously, we graduated a lot of dudes, so we got to teach these younger guys how to practice again, and that comes back with muscle memory. A lot of them were on the scout team last year, so being up on the travel squad or not on the scout team, there's a different speed that we play at, obviously. I was most excited to just get full speed reps the best we could. Obviously, we're not in full pads yet, but to being able to take it from the meeting room out onto the field and be out of the off season, put a helmet on, get out there, sweat, throw your hands around, that's a great feeling.
You're a couple of years removed from being a freshman yourself. What was it like watching them out there today? Did they run around with their heads cut off, or what is it like?
It's good. It gave me a lot of perspective, and I was like, man, was that what I looked like when I was a freshman? But all we really care about is that they're playing with attitude and effort, and that we can teach them, and we will teach them how to practice hard, how they fit into this scheme, how they should address certain things, how to just go about being a football player at West Point. So if they control the things that they can handle, we control everything else for them and can help them out.
Max, Army's coming off a pair of 6-6 seasons, so not on the losing side, but not on the winning side. No bowl games. What can you do as a team kind of get you over the top this year?
Yeah, all the coaches always talk about every week, right? The room for mistakes is this big, right? And then that's the difference between winning and losing. I don't know if you look at like the margin of error, and then you look at how much we lose by every week. It's usually pretty close, play here and there. So I think getting over that hump and flipping the script on our side when things are going bad and getting the momentum shifted back to our favor will be big this year. Putting ourselves in the best position to win in the fourth quarter. Right, we preach the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter warrior is huge in our program. If we can have an opportunity to win the fourth quarter, we got to win it.
Cody, obviously you guys have been practicing, not on the field, but weight training and all this stuff, meetings. How useful is that? But how much better is it starting today? Yeah,
I love being in the weight room, and in our program, the weight room is probably the single most important thing that we do, because we got to develop guys. We have a lot of good players who come in and they just grind for 2-3 years and finally make something of themselves their senior year, versus at another school you can have somebody pop in right now, right before you start camp, somebody can transfer in, and you're going to have a different football team, different roster when you go into that first game. So that's one thing that we see that not necessarily as a weakness, because in my opinion, this is one of the last places where college football is its pure state. No one's playing for NIL money. We're playing for each other. We come in and grind, and you see who makes himself into a good football player. And that's all we care about, is taking a dude and making sure that he is giving every single thing that he possibly can. We're not going to hold anybody to a.
Does it bother you having all this NIL money out there in the college football world, and also we're now to 4 major conferences because the Pac-12 dissolved, and there seems to be a black hole of college football. Everybody's trying to get into the one super conference.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me personally. I mean, you sit back in your locker one day and you're like, man, that would be nice to open your bank account and see some money in there. But obviously, you come here for a different reason, and nobody comes here for money. We come here to get a great education, play Division I football, and then commission as second lieutenants when we graduate. And when you have everybody with that like mindset who comes into the program, it's very, I'm not going to say easy, but you don't have as many like contingencies to deal with at other schools. You know, everyone here knows name hometown high school. Like, it's a true brotherhood. That black flag over there means something. We describe people as being black flag. You know, nowhere around the country is anybody else black flag, because the dudes that we come in with are the dudes that we go out with. And you know, we go through summer military training together, more than just football. So then when it comes to football, we translate all those details that we have on the military side to the football field. And if we can do that and execute, we'll be a really good team.
Last thing, what's it like being captain, Max?
You know, it was a super big blessing, and you know, it was truly an honor when my teammates voted me captains, and I'm sure it's the same for the other captains. You know, it's just one of those things that it's hard to put into words, right? It's something you strive for, to be like a great leader and stuff like that, but it's not necessarily like a goal to become a captain, right? Like, like I said, I'm just honored that my teammates trusted me enough to put me in that position. At the end of the day, we're all the same. Like, we still got the same goals, and we're just ready for the season.
Cody, being a leader of leaders.
What about it, sir? Should I just comment on it?
Yes.
Yeah, like kind of what Max was saying, anybody here I feel like is qualified to lead our team, just in terms of what they bring to the table, their attributes, whether or not they can execute and do it in the right time and step up and have that capability. That's a little bit of a discrepancy, obviously, because, you know, you come in and you're a big block of marble, and then by the time you leave, you're chiseled, and maybe not physically, but mentally you're chiseled. And, you know, you just went through 4 years of development, and now you're what they want on the back end. So kind of talk about the captain thing, like, what a great honor to be picked by your teammates. And then in my mind, it's like, all right, now these guys have given me the opportunity to hold them accountable, and they're like, hey, when things go wrong, we want you guys to handle this. When things are going well, like, keep this in perspective, stuff like that. You know, we're really passionate about just being grounded and remaining humble, and like making sure that everyone is pulling in one direction. If that makes sense.
Why did you point to Max when you said about not being chiseled?
Oh yeah, I don't know. He's pretty chiseled.
Yeah, I don't know why he pointed at me. That was a mistake.
Yeah, I was talking about myself.
Cody, I just ask you, Max, about how did you get through summer training, maintaining weight, maintaining weightlifting? It's always been a challenge at West Point.
You want to go first?
Yeah, Coach Hughes always preaches, you know, just eating as much as you can, and a couple weeks before we go out, like that's what he's preaching, right? Put on as much weight as you can, especially for these guys who are going to need it when we come back for the summer and for the season. So it's definitely a challenge. Coach Monken's done a great job of being able to kind of set us up with our summer trainings and kind of put us in the best position possible to maintain that weight. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge, but you come back, Coach Hughes gets us ready, gets us strong. Super blessed here to have everyone providing protein shakes and meals, and you know, you don't get that everywhere. So we're definitely lucky for that. Yeah, I think Coach Hughes is the biggest you know, advocate for putting on weight out of everyone. So we're gonna listen to him. We trust him, what he says.
Want to go to Zoom?
Yeah, we can go over to Zoom if we have anything.
Hey guys, Joe Iacono with GoBlackKnights.com. Max, first question for you. Talked a lot about some of the experience that graduated in the secondary, Jabari Moore, Hugh Hammond, some of those guys, and having to replace a lot of that. Kind of, what do you think are some of the keys to the success for some of the younger guys in the secondary who are now stepping up into starting roles and leadership roles? What are you focusing on with your younger teammates?
Yeah, you know, just getting them in the playbook. That's the biggest thing. If you're confident in your ability to know the plays and know what you're doing before the ball snapped, then you'll be able to play fast. Doesn't matter how athletically gifted you are or you know, any of the other factors. So right now, just getting their heads in the playbook, watching film with them, doing whatever they need to put themselves in the best position possible to play is super important.
And again, for you, Max, you've had a lot of reps throughout your career at Army, but now as a firstie safety, kind of, you know, that position's got a little bit of a legacy with Marquell Broughton and Ced Cunningham and, you know, Ryan England, and the list goes on and on. I'm leaving out probably 10 to 12 guys there. But, you know, kind of what does that mean to you that you've kind of been selected, as and kind of earned, I shouldn't even say selected, you've earned your way into that position in the secondary, and kind of what does that look like specifically in Coach Woody's defense? We know he puts a lot of responsibility kind of on that senior leader at the safety position to kind of make sure everybody's in the right position and lined up right and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, my freshman year is Ced's senior year, and then Quell's sophomore year. His junior year. So, I was able to pick those guys' brains and kind of, ask them questions every day and work with them and travel with them. So they set that standard, kind of similar to what Cody was saying. Those guys before us really helped put me in the best possible position. And then playing with Q last year, Q was here for a while. He was able to kind of show me the ways and put me under his wing and kind of help me out. So. I think just being that person that guys can come to, they need help. I know the defense pretty well. I've been here a while. Like I can take these guys through a film session, take these guys, do some homework with them on the football field. So I think just being able to be that person, positive attitude, positive energies is important for Coach Woody's defense.
And Cody, what's probably the number one thing you're working on personally for your game this year as a defensive lineman? What's the number one thing you're looking to improve in fall camp?
Overarchingly, maybe get a little faster. We'll see if that happens. But my goal for us as a unit is to just make sure that everyone is buying into what Coach Cronin's teaching and be able to take that from the meeting room to the practice field and execute it at a very high level. We're not, the weight room's important, but we're not the Army weightlifting team. The classroom's important, but we're not the Army get on the board team. So we got to be able to get out on the field and execute at a high level.
Thanks, Joe.
Awesome. And
You got one more? Go ahead.
one more? Okay, yeah. So Cody, you had a pretty cool story. It's been pretty well documented. Time in the regular Army, everything else. Kind of, how does that some of that experience help you kind of lead your team? You're kind of the most experienced guy on the team in terms of life experiences and those kinds of things. Are you able to lean on some of that in terms of kind of your perspective and the way you lead your teammates?
Yeah, really, not so much the events, but the lessons that you learn from those events. Being resiliency. Getting more emotionally intelligent about what's going on, how to deal with people, how to tailor your leadership style to other people's in order to get the best out of them. So definitely I've used my experience, and I want to, and I love helping these dudes, but it's not so much, hey, look at this thing that I did. It's like, hey, here's what I learned, and I'm going to help you and make sure you don't make those mistakes and make you a better person. That way you can be a better football player.
Thanks, guys.
Cool. Thank you.
You're all set, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate y'all.
Next up, we'll have quarterback Bryan Daily and defensive lineman Kyle Lewis.
Thanks, man.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good day.
How are you? Good to see you.
Whoever wants to start.
Ken Kreitzer, first day of Army football practice 2024. Chance to talk to Kyle Lewis and to Bryan Daily. And Bryson, we saw you last week at the American Conference Media Day representing your team. What was it like just to be there? You're in your native Texas. What did you think about after that day?
Oh, it was awesome. It's exciting getting into a new conference, get to do events like that, seeing our new opponents and their coaches. That was a really cool event, and I'm glad we got to represent Army in West Point.
Absolutely. Kyle, maybe just introduce yourself a little bit. I know you're from, Scottsdale, Arizona. Tell us about where you're from and what your journey at West Point's been like.
Obviously from Scottsdale, Arizona, pretty much right next to Phoenix. I'd say I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, but obviously it's hot, but it's dry heat, so I think it's easier than the humidity. I've been really blessed in my journey here at West Point. I've had a lot of older guys that came before me that really showed me a lot and taught me a lot of lessons and like showed me what it means to be a cadet, what it means to be an Army football player. And I just tried to carry on that legacy and kind of give those lessons to the younger guys that are going to be coming after me.
Good, Bryson. Obviously, you're coming in as a starting quarterback. You had a full spring practice. There are changes in the offense again this year. How are you approaching this summer practice season?
The same I always have, just trying to take everything, one thing at a time, one play at a time, one rep at a time, one practice at a time. Eventually it'll come for the first game. So I'm just trying to take it day by day and trying to show the young guys that's how you approach things here at Army. So, yeah. Okay.
And Kyle, maybe just tell us a little bit about how you approach your position, what you're working on this summer practice.
Just really trying to be encouraging to the younger guys, right? Especially the freshmen that just came in. They're getting a lot of information right now, and I just want to help them be as confident as they can to play the position and be able to give themselves put themselves in position to succeed.
Thank you. Seth?
Guys, we talked before about the Seth Menace and Black Knight Nation. We talked before with other guys about going into a new league. It's got to be exciting for the fans. Is it exciting for you? Is it different? Is it a different approach? Do you see it as tougher competition? Either one of you.
I think it's great competition. It's a very competitive league from top to bottom. Anyone can win it any given year. The past couple of years, teams like Tulane, Memphis, UTSA have all been top 25 in and out. So it's exciting being in a league like that, and hopefully we can become one of those teams in that league. I'd say it is. There's a lot of good competition, a lot of talented players. They're all really well coached. But as terms of the approach, I don't think it really changes. We kind of focus on what we can control, our attitude and our effort every practice, every time we have a position meeting, team meeting, lift, anything like that.
College football is changing. It's changing dramatically and quickly. I know you guys are concerned about winning football games here, but does that have any kind of impact on you and your thinking? As you go into games, with NIL and all the stuff that's going on, is there any thought there?
Honestly, for me, I'm blessed to be at this place where I know my teammates for 4 years. I know the guys who are going to be playing this season. There's no new guys coming in. We don't have as many going out as other schools. So I'm blessed to be able to be at a place where I can play with the same guys for 4 or 5 years, like I've been with Kyle. We get to create very close relationships because of that. So I think it's a blessing being here at Army.
Same thing as him.
Final question, a lot more bowl game opportunities in this conference. I think you got 6 or 7 or 8 tie-in. That's something you're looking forward to?
We're just looking forward to, the first game and just taking it one game at a time, one practice at a time, and then just going to control what we can control again, and then hopefully that'll be good enough to put us in a position to be able to play games after the 12 that we're guaranteed.
Okay, thank you.
Ken McMillan, Tom Carroll's record. Kyle, you mentioned earlier about you learned lessons. What does the senior Kyle Lewis know that the freshman Kyle Lewis didn't know?
It's not about me. I think that's the biggest one. I think, because just like a lot of freshmen, when they're coming in to play college football, they were the guy on their team. They were one of the best players. And now you're getting to a Division I program where everybody was that guy. And you kind of have to learn to humble yourself and, realize that, I can't win a game by myself. Bryson can't win a game by himself. We all have to work together, and we're only as strong as our weakest link. So you got to bring everybody around you together. Rising tide rises all ships.
Obviously, the freshman got out there for the first time. As a senior leader, what do you see as your role in bringing these guys along? Not only just the freshmen, but the young sophomores.
Again, making sure they're in their playbook, and I can help them with that. But I think, for me personally, my biggest role is setting the example of what an Army football player plays like. Right? It's all about attitude and effort, and I would think it's pretty hard to out-effort me. But I want to get those young guys to compete with me on terms of effort, because that's how we win games here.
Bryson, on your trip to Texas last week, obviously you probably got the mix with other players in the league. Mm-hmm. What was that experience like, and did they ask about Army joining the league, and what's that all about?
Oh, yeah, we got to meet a few of the players, a few of the coaches. It was good. It was good meeting some of those guys, acting like friends for now, and then, enemies on the field, of course. But no, it was good. It was good meeting those guys and, just the buzz around the new conference. It's very exciting for our program, West Point, and all of our fans, of course.
What questions did you get most from these other guys about, hey, what's West Point? What's Army all about?
Yeah, they all ask about the military service, like what we did this summer, and it's, of course, very different than things they're doing. Asking when we're going to get shipped to war and stuff like that, and we had to explain to them what we do every day. So, it's funny questions always, but it was all good.
And just talk about your development through since the spring practice, and now you're going into your final year, which is just shocking. What's this whole thing all about for you?
It is shocking. It feels like I just got here. I feel like I got to prep with Kyle just last year, but a lot like Kyle said, the guys who came before me were able to mentor me, and I wouldn't be in this position I am today without those guys. But we had a good spring ball, and we're hoping to carry it over into fall camp.
Last thing, quarterback room. Your first couple of years, you had a lot of veterans, and I mean a lot of veterans.
Yeah.
You kind of, as the starter last year, you kind of rose to the top here, but you had a young crew, and now you lose 2 more, but you're bringing in more. So just tell me about the dynamic of this quarterback room.
Yeah, we got a good, core quarterback room. We got 6 guys, 2 incoming freshmen, and then, of course, the 4 that were here last year. It's a very talented room of quarterbacks, and I'm just hoping to, help mentor those guys and help them become better players like all those quarterbacks before me did. So I'm just trying to be that guy for them. Me and Dwayne, because we've been here a while, we're trying to, show those guys the ropes, show how to play option football. So, it's been good.
Joe on Zoom, go ahead.
Hey guys, Joe Icono with GoBlackKnights.com. Bryson, one of the things about being a quarterback in Army, obviously, is you take a lot of hits. And it's been traditionally a little difficult for Army quarterbacks to start all 13 games or play a full season. One of the upsides to you, we think, is that you tend to deliver hits. We watched some highlights from the Syracuse game and whatnot. You're definitely a tough runner. But I had the opportunity to speak with Coach Hughes earlier this summer around injury prevention. And so what are some of the things you've worked on in the offseason to maybe help your durability a little bit, knowing that you're going to have to take a ton of hits in this offense?
Yes, sir. Like Coach Hughes always says, eat, sleep, and hydrate. That's the main 3. You can do a bunch of other, little things here and there, but eating, sleeping, and hydrating are the 3 things that are going to keep you the most healthy. So I just try to hit all those as best to my ability, and getting some extra stretching in the training room, stuff like that. But what Coach Hughes tells us to do, it keeps guys healthy. So we're trying to do that.
And then going into your second year as a starter, you were able to start obviously almost all last year. Got a lot of experience, a lot of live game reps, with some slight changes to the offense and everything. What do you think, having that experience under your belt? What's the difference between Bryan Daily now versus Bryan Daily day 1 at camp last year?
Yeah, just like you said, just experience. Like that's pretty much it. Knowing what games are like, knowing what a game prep looks like. I won't have as much of the emotions and stuff that I had before. So that's just getting in there and doing it. You have to do it to learn it. So all that game experience, really helped me, and hopefully that translates to a good season for our offense.
Last question for Kyle. Kyle, defensively, there's been a lot of turnover on the defensive team, but you guys have a lot of depth, a lot of talent coming back. Had the opportunity to speak with Coach Woody earlier in the summer. He talked to me about some of your goals and some of your guys' depth. What is probably your number 1 goal as a defense this year?
I'd probably say just, to compete every game and really put on display the brotherhood that we've built and like the team that we have. We obviously want people to look at our film and say that defense plays hard. I think that's a pretty big goal.
Last one, go ahead.
Thanks, guys.
Kyle, it's July 30th, August 30th, the first game. 1 month away, 1 month to prepare. What do you think about that aspect?
Honestly, it's the same, but it's different as it was in times past. I think we played a lot last year, and now like coming back, it's the last season, and it honestly doesn't feel real yet. I think as it gets closer, it'll be like, man, like this is going to be last first game for the senior class. But I'm just excited for the opportunity.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah, it's supposed to reflect the sun. All right, how are we doing this?
You want to open it up?
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, it's good to be back out there. I think at this point, every competitor, every football player, coach, anybody's part of an organized football program is excited to be back to practice and see in the season and getting ready. We are too. Our players are really anxious. Our veteran players have worked really hard over the summer. Our rookie players couldn't have been more excited to be out there for their very first college football practice. And so it was fun. We had a split practice, as you guys know. Rookies came out early. We had a combination period there with everybody to do special teams, and then the veterans practice later on. And that obviously just gives those young guys a chance to get caught up a little bit on the playbook and learn the fundamentals and not be relegated to standing over there with a bag and being a look squad. So they actually get to take reps and practice. So we're glad to do that. And we're going to do that for a few days before we all come together. But just like I said, great to be back out there. Way too early to assess really where anybody's at, but we'll have an opportunity to do that as camp rolls along.
Go ahead, Ken.
Coach, good to see you. Ken Crates with Gambets Media. Perhaps just on your first day, what is the thought about key areas that are top of mind for you that you want to spend time on looking at?
Well, just building depth, I think, is important in a lot of positions. There are some that I feel like we've got a good amount of depth. Right now, our offensive line, I think, has got good depth. I think the running back positions have good depth. Our inside linebacker position, certainly healthy, if we're healthy. There's enough guys to rotate on the defensive line. And so, all those positions have some guys that have played and some experience, which is encouraging. The other positions, we're going to have to build that and really figure out who can make contributions both offensively and defensively as well as be players we can count on to be the special teams guys. And we're going to need plenty of those guys to fill in those gaps where we've lost senior players to graduation. And a lot of the guys that are playing now that are starters, they cut their teeth on special teams. But it was because they showed promise at an offense or defensive position that they were actually in position to be a guy that made the special team steps. So a lot to learn about our team, a lot to learn about individual players, and it's fun to watch. I think particularly the guys that are going from their freshman year to their sophomore year. The plebe year here is tough. Going through cadet basic training, going through the freshman year football season, and a lot of those guys being on the scout team and taking their lumps a little bit. And then they get into the off-season program and really start to grow and develop. They go through spring practice and relearn the offense or defense. They go through all the summer workouts, physical development, the mental part, the mental development with their coaches. So to see the transformation of so many of those guys it's a lot of fun. It's encouraging, and you realize that where maybe as freshmen you thought, I don't know if this guy will ever play, that you see him as a sophomore and you feel like, okay, well, this guy's got a chance.
And on defense, Coach, you've got 3 captains on defense, and Max DiDomenico, has got a lot of playing time experience. And you've got Cody Winokur and Kyle Lewis from the defensive line. Maybe tell us about the roles on defense as you're having to replace a lot of players.
I think that all 3 of those guys will provide good leadership for our team. They have to this point, but of course we haven't hit any real adversity or any real tough stretches as a program since they've become captains. We haven't played against anybody else. And so I think the true leadership will stand out when we have to go through some tough times together. But I'm confident those guys will do a really good job, not just with our defense, but with our entire team. And their leadership transcends their positions and that side of the ball. They're leaders for our football team, which when we choose captains, it's not important to me what side of the ball they come from, what year in school they are. If our players feel like they're the best leaders for our team and vote them captains, then they deserve that honor. And it was a few years ago we had 4 defensive captains, and so I think that our team recognizes who those guys are that they really trust and believe in, and so those 3 guys will do a great job.
So just a final thought on offense. You've shifted offenses from 2 years ago. The full option. Last year you tried more of a spread option with the shotgun. And in spring practice you made some changes. You changed the offensive coordinator. Do you feel good about where you are with your scheme for offense?
Well, if I don't feel good about where we are now, we're going to be in trouble. So I have a lot of confidence in Cody Worley. He's been a part of the option offense for a long time, several different schools, and he's done a tremendous job with our team here, with our quarterbacks. There's nobody on our staff more qualified to prepare our team and call the plays for what we want to do offensively than Cody. It's been just the frustrations of going through the 2022 season and kind of what we felt like we had to become to overcome the blocking rules and how we were going to manage that, and really trying to make a wholesale change, not completely in terms of philosophy. We still want to run the ball, but how we were structured and the way we did it last year. And it just didn't fit us as well as I hoped it would. There were flashes and there were times where we looked really good. There were times where we really struggled. And so it's my job to recognize what needs to be done and make the decisions that are best for the program. And so getting us back more to who we are, what schemes and plays and how we can structure ourselves to help our players, the players in our program, the players that we can recruit into this program, be in position to succeed. And so I feel better about where we are, probably just because I'm way more familiar with the things we're doing, and it's a lot of it are pieces that we'd done in the past, and a lot of our pieces that we took from what we did last year, and so I think that we'll find an identity in what we're best at and major in those areas.
Coach, you have 6 guys at quarterback positions with Bryson. How do you feel about them? What makes one player stand out besides Bryson among the rest of them as you look for a backup, for your number 2 backup?
I think one is how well do they lead the team in that unit? Do the other guys in that unit respond to that player, and do they perform when he's in the huddle and in the game with them? The bottom line is the quarterback's got to take his team up and down the field and score. And if a guy is capable of doing that, then he's going to be an effective quarterback for us. So really determining who does that best, who has the confidence to step in and lead, and who our players have confidence in when they're there in the huddle. And it becomes apparent. I think it's recognizable that our players respond to certain guys. Certainly with Bryan Daily, having been our quarterback for an entire season and being the starter, he's a team captain, so that it's already an indication of the level of trust and belief that our players have in him. But when he steps in the huddle, there's a level of confidence. And so the next guy behind him is going to be the one that's closest to Bryson in that regard. Doesn't have to be the most talented, doesn't have to be the oldest or most experienced in the program. Just needs to be the guy that does that for our team and for that unit.
Is it open right now? Is it wide open?
Oh, certainly. And I hope there's enough healthy competition that every position feels like this thing could go either way. I mean, we came out of last season with starters, guys that started the last game. They had earned that spot for a reason. We went through spring ball. We came out of spring ball. The guys were positioned as starters coming out of spring practice. It's theirs to lose because they're at the top of the depth chart right now, but it doesn't mean that they won't. And other guys are competing and working hard because they want to play and contribute. They care about this team, this brotherhood, and there's nothing better than the feeling of being out there on the field and contributing to success for your team. And so I anticipate that there'll be healthy competition there at the quarterback spot, and I hope every other place is on our team as well.
A little off topic here, we were talking on the sidelines before about the NIL and also the proposal to go up to 105 scholarships for some schools, might go that far. How does that impact, you've always said about how you're going to get kids who didn't get scholarships someplace else and they come here to play Division I. How do you think that might impact the West Point and the other academies?
Well, we've got other guys. We got guys on our team that had other scholarship offers. But we're not going to go head-to-head with the Power 5 programs very often. There's every once in a while we'll be in the mix. We got Josh Manicky in here, who's a true freshman. I'm really excited about from the Chicago area. Went to Downers Grove South. He came down to us in Northwestern right down to the end. And there's a Chicago kid that chose us, which I'm really happy about. And I think he's going to be a heck of a player. He's a terrific kid. Kenny Brinson, who was a terrific player for us. He had Stanford, is down to us in Stanford. He had other scholarship offers. We have some guys like that every once in a while, but that's just not the recruiting pool we're in. And so we have to identify the guys that fit our program that we feel can, with development, make a contribution. We got 6 guys playing on NFL rosters. None of those are 5-star prospects. They all developed. They had to come in and grow, and I don't know that. Elijah Riley started as a freshman when we lost Brandon Jackson, but he was the one guy that started as a freshman. He was a good player, but all those guys became good players, and the improvement that Elijah Riley made over the course of the time he was here, his career, guys develop here. And so those are the kinds of guys we're looking for. The Power 5 schools, I think the 20 additional scholarships we'll give them a chance to maybe take some guys that might be projects, as you'd say, that they really have to develop, that they feel like are a little bit farther away. But often the very top of the Power 5 schools, they're taking the best players in the country. And it doesn't matter if they come from high school, another college, whatever it may be, they're able to get those guys to sign on to their programs. And so I think there'll be a trickle-down effect. There's no way to really tell how it's going to affect us until we get into it. But those top programs will be able to take more guys that are the top guys. And the other Power 5 programs will be able to take more guys that are those what is the bulk of the Power 5 rosters. Really good players, Power 5 players, but probably the top end guys that you'd see at the Group of 5 will have more scholarship opportunities at Power 5 programs, and then the Group of 5 will be in competition for those top Group of 5 guys, the guys that make up their rosters, and maybe even the best FCS players. I mean, I only anticipate that. So I think there will be more guys that find themselves maybe in some different recruiting pools than they would have been. But consider every walk-on at every one of those major programs. And, whether it's Clemson or Georgia or Alabama or, Oregon, the Ohio State's, the top programs, and they've got 40 walk-on players. What happens to those guys? Are they good enough to be scholarship players? Are they better? Are they a better scholarship player or a better investment as a scholarship player for one of those 86 through 105s than somebody that Ohio State or Oregon can go get from another Power 5 school to transfer, or from a Group of 5 school to transfer? Well, some of those guys are going to take up those scholarships. And probably the guys at Ohio State and Michigan and Oregon and Alabama and Clemson and Florida State that don't get a scholarship from the school where they're at, they're going to find themselves in conversations for scholarships at other colleges, other Power 5s, Group of 5s. And so I think it's all going to shake out. I stand with all the other coaches around the country that are against roster limitations. I think it's bad for the game. That anything that takes opportunities away from young people to play sports, I think is bad. And unfortunately, there's now conversations about schools that feel like they're going to have to drop sports or reduce the number of sports or reduce scholarships in certain sports. That's taking opportunities away from young people, and I don't like that. But unfortunately, fortunately, we're at a position in college sports right now where players, student athletes, can benefit monetarily from playing college sports, and I think it's fantastic. But unfortunately, it's creating perhaps fewer opportunities for the entire group. I think it'll be really good for the ones that can play, but some of them may lose their opportunity to play. Fortunately for us, because we are not part of the large group of schools that are able to revenue share with our student athletes, puts us in a different category. So we won't have the 105 limitation. We're essentially a non-scholarship school. Everybody at this school is on the exact same scholarship. Yes, they get a scholarship, but it's not a football scholarship or a volleyball scholarship. They can't have NIL. They can't get cost of attendance. They can't revenue share. So we're in a little different conversation. But I'm sure there'll be some trickle-down effect. But I've talked to our staff about it, and I think we've got to approach recruiting the same way as we have in the past. We're going to recruit high school players. We're going to bring them in and develop them. We don't have access to the transfer portal like other schools do. Our mechanism for roster replacement is recruiting high school players, retaining them, and developing them. Sorry for the long-winded answer on that.
Go ahead, Ken.
Hey, Jeff,
Hi, Ken.
what was your core message to the team? Other than get to practice on time, hustle, blah blah blah. What's your core message to this team before practice here? What is it that you want to have them understand?
Do a great job of learning your assignments and paying attention to the coaching that you're getting every day in the classroom and on the field. There's a pace to our practice. Be efficient, be fast, be physical when we practice. All things that we can control. Be fanatical about the fundamentals that go along with your position, because we are going to have to be exact in our fundamentals to be able to have success in a one-on-one matchup. We are not talented enough to just show up to practice, to roll the balls out and say, well, Army's here and we're going to win games. We will have to play really hard and really fast and be almost perfect on assignment. Strive to play fundamental football as well as we can possibly play it, and be really tough. And that's the only way we're going to have a chance to win. That's my message to them going into practice. It's my message to them 365 days a year, because it's who we are. We are not a talented enough football team to win games on talent. We got to do all the other things, because probably every team we play will be more talented than us, and certainly, at least as talented as we are.
It's not your first rodeo here, so what's your theory on embracing the past, learning lessons, versus wiping the slate clean?
Well, our football team this year hadn't won a single game. They don't have a trophy that they can claim. There's not an accomplishment that this team can claim yet. So there's a lot to learn. Past experiences. I've got past experiences in my career, in my life. Hopefully I learned from those past experiences, good, bad, or in between. Our players have experiences. We've got players that come in here from high schools and different experiences prior to coming to school here, whether they're true freshmen or they're seniors. They had some experiences in football, and they likely draw from those experiences, good, bad, or in between. We've got players on this team that have been part of championship programs, guys on this team that have played in and won bowl games. We've got guys on this team that have played in CIC games and won those games, and been part of teams that won a Commander in Chief's trophy, but this team hasn't won anything. So it's just being healthy about the understanding of what needs to be done and who we are, and where we can draw wisdom from to help ourselves be successful.
You were at the AAC meetings last week. What was the vibe about having Army join the league and new camaraderie you have with those coaches?
So it really is a privilege and honor for us to be a part of that conference. It's there's a lot of really good football teams. There's a ton of talent in that. It's a talented league. You see guys every year from those schools going to the NFL, playing at a really high level. There's players in that league that have gone to Power 5 schools, and Power 5 players have transferred into schools in our league. And it's very well coached. There's some outstanding coaches in the American Athletic Conference. So it'll be a challenge every single time we play a game in that league. It's hard to win a college football game. It's really hard for Army to win a college football game. And so to go into a league with the caliber teams and the talent and the coaching in that league, it'll be tough. But I know that they've embraced us being a part of the league, and hopefully we bring something to the American Athletic Conference that will improve it and help the brand. I know a lot of the coaches in that league and have developed friendships over the year. We've played some of those teams in the past, and though they're not the same football teams, and we aren't either, good football teams, good programs, great schools, and I'm really excited about Tim Pernetti, the commissioner. He's a go-getter, and he's really pushing the brand of the league, and I think that's good for our school, and every school is a part of the American.
Jeff, you mentioned earlier about how there's some areas on this team that are bringing back a lot of talent, a lot of experience. What are your areas of need? What are your points of emphasis, at least in the early part of this camp?
I mentioned several positions where we do have some depth. Probably all the ones that I didn't mention, I got some concern about that we need to develop depth and find out a lot about the guys at that position, what they're capable of, and who's gonna be the guys that we can count on, and if the starter goes down, and at some point that's going to happen. Hopefully not too often, but it's going to happen.
Are you happiest with the ones, but you're just concerned about the 2, 3, 4s?
I think probably every one of our starting positions, I feel like we could get those guys ready and have a fighting chance. But as I said, you can't play with 22 guys the entire season. Some of those positions have a guy that I think is very capable of stepping in and playing as well or close to the starter. But if you said of those 22 positions, if you had to go to the backup, and how great would you feel about starting the second 22? Well, there might be 11 of those. The other 11 we got to find out, and we got to develop.
We're going to wrap up with Joe. Go ahead on Zoom.
Hey, Coach Monken. So, one of the unique challenges of coaching at West Point is, unlike any of your opponents that you'll play this year for the most part, all your players just came off of summer military training relatively recently. How does the team look from a health and conditioning standpoint coming out of their summer training?
All the freshmen don't look so good. They never do. They've been through cadet basic training for the last 4 weeks, and some of them have lost some weight and just a little leg weary because there's physical training every morning or almost every morning with those guys, and that's part of the West Point experience, and it's important that they do that, and I know those guys enjoyed the experience and the opportunity to be with their classmates and learn and prepare themselves to be cadets. But our veteran players have been on campus since the start of June. Pardon me. So I think they're in really good physical condition. Coach Hughes and our strength staff, Jackie McCann, Tim Kelly, our training staff, done a really good job of getting those guys ready to go. We had just a handful of guys, fewer than 5 of our entire roster that weren't able to go out and practice 100% today. And all of those injuries, with the exception of one, happened over the summer. They pulled a muscle, or they had something happen during summer training as they were preparing for preseason camp. So they've done a marvelous job of getting the guys ready, but the credit goes to our players. Just the things they did all summer long to work hard to get themselves in condition, nutrition and hydration and sleep and all the necessary things from a physiological standpoint to prepare themselves, they've done. And our guys, they want to compete at a high level. They know what a challenge it's going to be for them to win, and I'm proud of the effort that they put in. So now we got to keep them healthy and keep them out there.
You got it,
Coach. Go ahead. Are we done? Or are we at time?
Go ahead, Joe. Last one.
Okay. So, Coach, last year the kicking game was one of the strengths of the team for sure. Quinn Moretzky was darn near automatic on field goals and extra points, and Cole Talley was great on kickoffs. Punting was a little more inconsistent. We saw some struggles in the spring game. How do you feel about the place kicking and punting right now going forward?
it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. Cooper Allen was the starter a year ago, and coming out of spring, Matthew Rhodes had kind of taken that starting position. So there's going to be some competition there. At the kicking positions, Trey Granati came out of spring probably as the place kicker. I know Anderson Britton has a really good kickoff leg, and so I think he'll be competing for that spot. Owen Walter is at the top of the depth chart for long snapper, and those are all new names. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out as we go through camp, and we don't have to make a decision until August 30th on that. We need to do a great job of protecting those kickers and protecting the punters, covering our kicks and punts, and taking the pressure off of those specialists and letting them do their job. But there's nobody that will do a better job of preparing them and having them ready and having our kicking game ready to go than Coach Saturnio.
Last one, go ahead, Ken.
Coach, just wonder if you could give an update on Tyrell Robinson. I know he's been struggling coming back from injuries.
Well, purposefully, we've taken our time with this one. Obviously had the knee injury a couple years ago, re-injured the same knee, and so we've taken a little bit longer to make sure he's ready to go. And that's not only to play, but so that's completely healthy, so he's able to commission as an officer in the United States military. So we're coming along, and he's way ahead of where maybe the typical guy would be. He's so powerful and so athletic. He just naturally, his body responds to the training and to the rehabilitation. So he's doing a really good job. I don't have a date for when he'll return to full go, but he's running, he's changing directions. We're just not prepared yet to put him on the field and practice, but I don't know that we're too far away from that.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Coach.